Hello everyone, welcome to the YouTube channel mecaniquesportive. It's Nicolas. Today I have here the actual Duster and the future Duster 3. That's what they currently have. That's the future Duster 3. That's what they currently have in the Journey version, and that's the future in the Journey version. There we have a more traditional version. There we have a hybrid version. And yes, the hybrid finally arrives on the Duster. It's already on Jogger. I do a small summary on what will happen on this new Duster, but also this time we will have them here to compare them point by point, to compare them in what they are different and also what gathers them. But in truth, we can see it. They are really different now. I will list for you the details of everything that is evolving. There's 2.2 million of Dusters sold up to this one. It started in 2010. It has been restyled in 2017. There we can see the last restyling. Here with this grid, 2.2 million. Every day 1,000 come out of the factory. 1,000 Dusters per day are exported around the world. They are a little bit everywhere. Quite a few in Europe, a bit in South America where it works not bad. In France we still see a lot of them already. The Duster 3 is announced for the first version, which will be the cheapest. Essentially around 20,000. They set the bar under the 20,000, we suppose, around the 19,900, while this one was around 16,000 when it came out in 2010. Remember, the advertisement, I think it was 11,990, which was incredible. And now, starting from about 16,400. I don't want to be wrong, but that's what it is for the new Duster. It will be offered in 7 colors. In terms of engines, we will have the hybrid version, so 140 horsepower as we have today, 1.6 engine. Then we will have the TCE 130 with a 1.2 liter engine, and we will also have the EcoG versions. EcoG 100 with the 1 liter engine, 100 horsepower gasoline plus liquefied petroleum gas. We will also have versions of driving wheels and versions for driving wheels, but that we do not know yet. They have not presented it to us. It will always be an essential version, extreme, expression like the model I introduced you in the channel, or journey like the model of Toda. In terms of size, there is a very little evolution. 4 meters 34 long, like always, 1 meter 81 wide, even if like that it seems much wider, whereas it is almost the same size as this one, 1 meter 66 high. There has not too much difference. This one look almost lower. In fact, it has a look so different. In terms of shapes, we can go up to 21.7 centimeters. On this new one, we will always have on the 4 versions, 4 attack angles that are quite impressive, 31 degrees on the front, 36 degrees on the back to make it one off-road. And I promise you, I will take you to some off-road, and it will be very funny, as we did with the old blue one on the channel. We enjoyed it. For the hybrid version, today, battery of 1.2 kilowatts that we also find on the Clios, the cars of Renault Group. It's the same engine, the 1.6, with a part of 94 horsepower. More than the electric engines that bring 49 horsepower in electricity. It's enough for the small electric phases we are going to drive. All right, let's go. For what changes on the front, we find a little bit the same grills in the center, but it's not the same. The shape changes here. We have sorts of small hooks that insert here. We have totally straight lines. We still find the white bands on each side. But this time we only have them on one line. Here we had them on 2 lines. Nice differences. A camera at the front we find here. This time integrated in the center of the DC. This time it was much lower. Integrated at the bottom of this grille. At the level of the optical blocks, we already found the Y signature, which was a little bit indicative of what it will happen at Dacia. Not 100% LED, LEDs for the low beam and bulbs for the high beam. And the same principle with the high beam in bulb LED 2. For this, the signature is a bit different. Here we already have the Greek in 2 parts. Here we have it in 2 parts too. It splits a little bit on the rest. So it was done in a way that they still have a little Y inside in black, and we still have the Dacia written on the side. And there we also had it, but much more discreet. Here we affirm even more to the Dacia brand. So this is for everything that was this little grille. Here we can see that there is already a lot of evolution. Then if we go up a little bit, the jacks on the 2 versions, here we can see that we find a little bit this shape that we also found on the Sandero with the emblem that was Dacia. It looks like a little bottle opener. Here we find that, but very, very massive, very muscular, very tense lines. While here, nothing to do with it. There was a delicacy. I know it was all cute It was a little bit the logo, but remember, we gently placed it there and put it in its balm then. I want it to be affirmed. We really have the impression of having two different philosophies there. Something very soft to something very masculine, very powerful. Then we go up, we have a windshield that is different there. This one is shorter, also more vertical there. It has been much more elongated. Same thing, softer, more rounded there. We cut a little more. Something that I like, there is a small 4x4 here on the window tour. I like these small things. So then we find up there, bars, they are totally different. There they are black this time, there they were gray. So we had a different color. Approximately the same principle, we can always put them in transverse or longitudinally. Then we go down to the level of the mirrors. So we have protections in gray here, the repetitor is included here, before it was just down here. Bulb here, no LED, small savings a bit everywhere. For the sides we will come back after. We come back now to the front part, we go down above the grille. So there it's painted. We find this part also painted. In both cases it was painted, and then we find what they called the ski, the part here. So now this time it's almost become a bull bar there. It was a little more discreet, but already it had a fairly aggressive style. In fact, when we compare now, we say no, it became all cute. Fog lights we find on each side, of course. On the sides, we can see large air curtains that were not present on this version, allowing for adjustment of the air penetration coefficient, the SCX. These curtains help guide the airflows more effectively. As we move slightly away, we observe that it has been widened again, providing even more musculature. To the plastic on the bottom, but there are all the shapes of the plastic on the bottom. But there, all the shapes aren't actually what they seem. We have the impression, but I'm not sure if you've seen those kinds of super muscular dogs or horses that we breed. It seems to portray a muscular bodybuilder on one side, while the other side depicts a refined, nice lady and a mischievous gentleman. It's to see it's totally different. So then at the level of this to see it's totally different. So then at the level of this part, so we take up a bit the same principle thing that was going down. So there it goes down. And this time we have a blade here that is much more prominent, really much lower still, nothing to see. The plate is positioned about the same level, so maybe a little bit higher on the versions than this one. On this one, we find the hitch at this place, the fog lights on each side, the small parking sensors that we also found on the old one. Was really on the side. We can find on the side and one more to the front, while this one did not exist before. So we might have a little more precision for parking. Also there, we had the cove which protruded a little from the hood. Here, it's really directly aligned, it's really different. What do you think already on the front? Which one do you prefer? While they are arranged like that, I'll do the front and back, then we'll do the sides together by placing them side by side. The back again, nothing to see with the other, even if we recognize them a little bit roughly. We start with the antenna. It's bigger here, the same than the on for the Sandero. I had shown you the little detail with the Sandero stepway. No, it was not with the Sandero stepway. It was with the Sandero SCE65 versus the Duster. They are a very thin, just metallic antenna. Then we go down to the thin little stands, not too prominent. Here we could imagine a third stop light, but directly integrated behind the glass on this side. On this side, the stop light is well integrated directly into the stand, and it is much more muscular. It has very, very linear shapes. And the same, so we see a plastic part here that did not exist before. So again, it brings even more style. This also affects the aerodynamics. We have a tinted window. We have the window tinted here also, but this one is more inclined while the other was straighter. It gives it a style coupe. For the windshield wipers, I think that's exactly the same ones, except that this one is a little bit newer. Then we go down a little bit, the Dacia badges, then a little relief. Here we have a really flat version. I believed it was exactly the same, but not at all. The relief is very, very different. Then we find this bar that was there also. We follow the same style, one part in plastic. We found a rear view camera. Here we also find the rear view camera here. The little button to open the car trunk also. I was not sure. We find here the Duster with this slightly rough sticker. We have it on this side, but this time it has gone from light gray to black. We even have the little hybrid badge since we have a hybrid version. Then here we can see that the trunks doesn't look the same. It's much more straight. There it was more rounded. The difference is much more subtle here, but it's repetitive. This is more discrete, but we repeat the same fold that existed here. Then on the back there, it's the same. It looks like it ate a lot of proteins. This one went to the gym. Something very strong, always the ski that is dyed in the mass. In case we mock, we will not see any apparent black color underneath, and we have sensors. Sensors there also, we had two here, which were not necessarily very well integrated. There, it's directly in the plastic, and this plastic is a specific plastic called Starkle, that we can see it with the small white pigment that there is inside. It's because of the recycled materials. And then this part here is worked a lot. We find a lot of pieces, bam, 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 bam. A little bit everywhere. I find it quite impressive. Then we will talk about the optical blocks. So this one, if you have the video with Clemens, she said that, well, yeah, it didn't look crazy, and it was the thing that spoiled this version a bit. Whereas here they integrated it well. We take again the Y form, which come from here to pot, the indicators. So we had bulbs here. We also find bulbs on this side. Always this, we have the impression that it's LED, but not at all. It's always bulb. Here we had the same, this shape here, we thought it was LED, but I think it's a bulb too. Whatever it is, it's very well done. But that's for sure bulbs. Regarding the volume of the trunk there, I pressed a little button, it opened for me. In terms of trunks, this one was much lighter. It's impressive, it feels like this one is much lighter. In terms of interior finishes, it's very plastic, but we see that there are little things called clips. So we have accessories like this one, for example, with a lamp that I can put and fix it anywhere. There are three things on one side and one here. It's the same. There is a pack slip. I made a dedicated video, so it's my colleagues who got it now, but we have a lot of little accessories that can be put like this, just like the pack slip or even the roof rack. It moves forward, I lean on it, there is no handbrake that is positioned. Regarding the volume, we won a little bit. Remember, for those who watched the video, plus 6% of trunk volume, 472 liters. So this is the hybrid version. It's a little less. I don't have the exact value. I just know that on the version 4x4, it will be 344 liters, 472 for the normal gasoline versions. For this side, 6% less, but you know me, I can get in without problem. We could be two here, so the same, we had around 450 liters. And from this side, so we have the loading threshold at the floor level. If we want, we have the floor that can be lowered or simply removed. I also get in here easily. Then the beach has been removed. We have these little clips on the side and even a 12-volt power socket just here, and we still have place under that. The seat can fall back on 1/3 of this side, just like in the old version, and hop we close, you hear the noise. Even in terms of noise, it has nothing to do. The joints have been reworked. It really seems much more evolved. So let's go. As we said there, from this side, we find a tailpipe. On this side, we don't see the tailpipe. We just have a hook here. And the same lights, two totally different cars. And there you can see it. Something much more vertical here and rounded there. Something much more marked and much more inclined on this side. And even in terms of windshields, I think this shape is much more brutal. You can see there the bumpers, so there it was cuter, there it protrudes much more muscular here, and then the surrounding of the wheel arches, so we didn't have that on this side that we now find here, which makes it much more modern sport utility vehicle. We find it on almost all the cars. On all the lower part, plastic part, with small places where it's a little hollow there on this side. Also these three prints directly, but we can see that it's still quite different. This time it's a little more marked here, it was wider. However, we can see that we have a line here that we found here, but which came down there. Try to keep a little bit this aspect there on the back with this window here offset compared to the one. So handle also this time directly at this place there in the door, which was before posed on the door here. So there are also big difference at this level there. And so this rear window, which was really offset and is more integrated. And the same, we can see that this time it really goes around, while there it really had a break at the level of the bars. we can find about the same thing, but with totally different bars. As I did this time, they are painted in black. It doesn't have at all. They always have a pretty little curve, the antennas. So there we can see the difference also. Then on this side, we find a hatch that we can open directly. Now that's the big advantage. So there we have a gasoline version. We will have the GPL also, so longer version compared. Before, it looks much more qualitative on this side there, while the other really made the driver's seat there. It's no longer necessary. We can see the difference there. We have rims in 17 inches this time. I think if I don't tell something wrong on the old Duster, and then something that makes a huge difference is these parts there, so made with star. It's a part that reinforces even more the character of this Duster, which already existed here, which included on the four-wheel drive version. We had marked 4WD for four-wheel drive in English, which was noted on this now, marked Duster. And there was nothing. However, we had marked Duster on the roof bars. On this side there is nothing written, so 2 stars changed place. It went down there instead of, can also note on this car, at the level of design, we can even see that the hood there, it is really raised much higher, and which comes almost in line with the belt line here, while before it was a little less marked. We still took this principle. We have the impression that this one is lower, while they are almost the same size. And the device, we can see it's at the level of the height. It's the same, it's almost the same size. However, the chassis has evolved. Well, between this one and this one, the handles have also changed for the front doors. Fridge type handle, very different. We had the lock here, while now the lock is totally hidden. We no longer have this small metal part. Well, and if we go inside, I take you directly with my point of view, rediscovering very quickly this one and make you discover more in detail the new. Let's go. I take you rediscover quickly the back of this one, so then it's very dark, but new camera works well. The Osmo Pocket, for one time, it does something good, this new 3. The seats, look at that during the day. You can see that we had small stitches this way, a bench that was in a one piece, the belts. And on the other hand, the belt was directly up there. Then I hated that. I find it really not practical, and it's not pretty either. So the doors were entirely in plastic, as we will also find on the new one. So with just the window here, a small storage bin, a speaker, depending on the kits. We had 2 pockets at the back, but we found, if we had the option, I think it was in the Technopack, the 2 USB type A at the back have something very simple with a small central tunnel here. And here we open the door there inside. We find so nothing better finished, like for the Sandero, with these parts done on the upper side, a little textured. It's still hard plastic, really everywhere the window here with the auto mode. So if we press completely, it goes down to the bottom. The bench has also changed, but it remains always in one piece all the way. However, the seats, as we can see, there is a jean effect that I find really pretty. The third belt has passed directly on the bench. That's a real plus. The headrests have also changed. And by the way, for those who are interested, I will make a video with the Pack Sleep. We have USB connections that we can find now in Type-C. So now modernized, the little clip here, so we can see that it evolves quite a lot.
We have here as well a central tunnel.
We find the pockets at the back on both seats. The headrests look like this. Still no sunroof or glazed. The lighting on the top, the handles for everyone except the driver. We can see it's super dug there on the upper part, and there this handle. I show you then the front, you will see, so same. The bench, which will be in 2/3, 1/3 always, top tether, ISO fixings on both sides. We have something frankly a little bit nicer. And even at the door level, when we look at this door compared to that one, the other one is still a little bit more modern also. It was more rounded compared to the one that is a little bit more the style with the car. Let's go, we move to the front. So these handles here, so it's still quite good. We had a small 6mm armrest here with top stitching, all the buttons for the windows and mirrors, the handle here that looks like the back, a small badge surrounded here. So the gas cap, there we had the pack with the heated seats on this journey with the duster mats. So double pedal, since it was an efficient dual clutch version, so 150 on this version, with the Duster marked on the seats, with this textured effect here inside. We had side airbags, small armrest here. We still had a real handbrake as it was the previous platform, even if we had the automatic gearbox and the Dacia, since it was the restyled versions, with the lettering in the center, with the old steering wheels. Also the speedometer, which was still with one needle. We had not a digital speedometer, but we still had a small screen on this side. If I start it, normally I'm not sure if it even starts right away. With the air conditioning unit that looked like this, you will see it has evolved well. A bit low cost in this car than compared to a Sandero, we could still see the difference. And this time, I take you to discover the new look that I told you earlier. There, the lettering looks like this, and there it is, white everywhere. While there, it is white just on top, and there we have a small black outline. I want to give a little bit of relief, but differently from this one. So let's go inside the new handles this way. And there we are going to see there is really a lot of difference. Please stop ringing. I think it will not start as there is no battery. I will show you next directly with the other one over there if I can to show the screen. At the door there we also see a big difference, and even more with the blue part here, which remember what it is inside with the Y. The Y, we find them everywhere. By the way, I would like to know what this Y corresponds to at Dacia. Y is painted and not 1D like Dacia. Then we find much more modern parts at the level of the windows and mirrors. So we can see it's more compact. This part is restyled like on the back with, of course, everything in plastic. This time we don't even have an imitation here. All of that is in plastic too. The loudspeakers are here if we have the media nav, but we have more space here all along the door. On this side here we have not the button for the trap gas. Since it opens directly, the seats look like this. So we can see a big difference. We don't have the name of Dacia, but the logo of Dacia, which is directly written here. Here always this kind of gene also. On the bottom we see that we always have quite open seats at the level of the seat and the backrest. This is characteristic of the Duster. The parking brake has passed here. Hop, I just put the handbrake there. Always two pedals, since here we are on a hybrid version, so with the very small selector here, so that I remove it since it's pre-series vehicles. Cars that do not run, we always have that. This will be, in my opinion, for driving aids and others. The echo button here, which restrains a bit the car, the height of the lights, and the e-save button to be able to drive in electric a bit later. And the steering wheel looks like this, so much more modern. The logo, it's not written Dacia anymore. We have the logo directly. There we can see the modes, either regulator or limiter. No adaptive mode, still on this one. Maybe it will happen one day and adjust slower or faster the speeds, reset, and the reading of the signs. It seems to me, if I'm not mistaken, it will be used for scrolling through menus over there and here. I've done a little video on that. The voice command, take a call. Behind we find the same controls. So hop, the little headlight flashes that go well. The indicators on the sides. We have your full beam and Automotive. I reactivated them, silence. Okay, it's good. She didn't speak anymore. So this time we have a screen without needle. So it's full screen. So here we have 3 levels with 3 different displays. On this side, we have the windshield wipers and a screen. It says Duster inside on this plastic part. Also here, the vents are much more stylish. Also with this Y shape that is repeated here. And the climate controls, as we can find on much more modern Renaults. I don't remember if it's the Zoe has this, or maybe even the new Megane E-Tech. And it looks like this. So the air conditioning, the hotter and less hot controls. Off. Vehicle unlocking, the warnings right here, a little lower. We can see the cards. I don't know if it will be really those ones. We can see Duster. These are the pre-series models we have. Even a 12-volt socket, 2 USB Type-C ports, and especially this new selector, which is well evolved. So, drive towards me. There is even the B mode, since it's a hybrid version. The parking mode. So I like on the parking brake here, when there will be battery left and reverse forward, a small space for storage. Here it looks like that, and here we have more storage. With an armrest, this one is fixed and foamed on this part. On the top we find a mirror. The edges are thin. We can see it has been raised to the maximum. I think we could not raise it anymore. It's really to the millimeter, and there we have lights. It is not working as we no longer have battery, and the Save Our Souls button, the sun visor with no lighting and where to put his ticket just here, and this new texture on the ceiling which is very pleasant and which makes the car much more qualitative. Also here is what it looks like. And the glove box, which is always as deep. This is one of the big advantages of Dacia. I think we can put 2 bottles of 1.5 liters here. On the upper part, we find speakers there, directly inside there, with vents here and all along. Here you can see the little 4x4 that is climbing, who wants to try to climb there. So what did you think of this face-to-face or back-to-back? It made me happy to be able to have both, to really compare the old versions to the new ones. We really see the differences, and that this Duster has really nothing more to envy from this one. In my opinion, if this one was a bestseller, I think it should not stop with this new version. You are already millions of people watching my videos. Thank you again. Thank you to those who subscribe, who give strength to the channel. We are more than 100,000 now. Do not hesitate to subscribe for the test, and especially to not miss what we will surely be the first in the world to make you the test. Well, I will surely be one of the first in the world, lucky. Thank you to Dacia again for inviting me each time to introduce their cars. So the little blue thumb like that, don't hesitate to subscribe and comment below with any ideas you have for Dacia related content. And if you like the Dacias, write in the comments what you want me to do. Would you be interested if we tested old versus new models related to the road, or other comparisons with Clémence, like when we compared the Sandero against the Duster, or from the cheapest to the most expensive? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And then I'll see you soon for our next video. Alright, ciao. Thank you for watching this video.